Hi, this is Miss Palomino from Highlandtown Elementary Middle School, number 237. Today is Friday, June 5th, 2020, and this is Middle School ESOL. Y hoy día quiero continuar hablando sobre por qué estamos protestando por todos los United States. The weather in Baltimore, today the high temperature will be 87 degrees and the low temperature will be 73 degrees, and there will be thunderstorms today. Yesterday was June 4th, 2020. Today is Friday, June 5th, 2020. And tomorrow will be Saturday, June 6th, 2020. And to review, cuando decimos was, estamos hablando del past. So was means era o fue o estaba. And today we're going to focus on the past y las palabras was and were. Vamos a enfocarnos en el pasado, in the past, y las palabras was and were. So to review, I, yo, you, usted, ustedes, or tú, he, él, she, ella, it, usamos it cuando estamos hablando de una situación o un objeto, algo que no es humano. A veces lo usamos para animales. They, ellos o ellas. We, nosotros, nosotras. So if we're talking about the past, I was, you were, he was, she was, it was, they were, we were. I was, you were, he was, she was, it was, they were, we were. So our objective today is I can describe, yo puedo describir, what happened to, lo que le pasó a Atatiana Jefferson with was and were, con las palabras was and were, using sentence frames. Entonces al final ustedes van a entregar un párrafo así, describiendo lo que le pasó a Atatiana Jefferson. Y en los blancos van a llenar con las palabras was or were. Y para determinar cuál palabra deben usar en los blancos, hay que ver las palabras que están en azul, porque esos les van a ayudar. Pero vamos a revisar cuándo usamos was y cuándo usamos were, cuando estamos aprendiendo sobre lo que le pasó a Atatiana Jefferson. So at the end, you're just going to fill in the blanks with was or were. So a little bit about Atatiana Jefferson. Atatiana Jefferson was 28 years old. She was a graduate of Xavier University. She was studying medicine, and she was a caregiver, una cuidadora, for her nephew and her mother. Her nephew, su sobrino, and mother, su mamá, su madre. Atatiana Jefferson was from Fort Worth, Texas. She was from Fort Worth, Texas. This is Texas. Maryland is here. So she was from Texas. On October 12th, 2019, Atatiana Jefferson was killed by the police. She was killed by the police. Atatiana Jefferson was playing video games with her nephew in her house. Atatiana Jefferson was playing video games with her nephew en su casa. A neighbor called the police. A neighbor, un vecino o una vecina en esta situación, a neighbor called the police because she saw Atatiana Jefferson's front door, la puerta principal de la casa de Atatiana, open, abierta. So a neighbor called the police because she saw Atatiana Jefferson's front door open. When the police came to Atatiana Jefferson's house, they shot, ellos dispararon, Atatiana through the window, la ventana, and the police killed Atatiana, la mataron. So when the police came to Atatiana Jefferson's house, they shot Atatiana through the window, and the police killed Atatiana. The police officers were, porque eran muchos, mira cómo lleva ese al final, significa que es plural, entonces en vez de was decimos were. The police officers, they were confused and wrong. Atatiana died in her house. Die significa morir. And she did not do anything wrong. No hizo nada malo. And it is unfair. Es injusto que murió. It is unfair. So our word of the day is protest. To protest means to show that you disagree with something by speaking up or taking action. To protest means to show that you disagree, que no estás de acuerdo con algo, by speaking up, diciendo lo que piensan, or taking action, haciendo algo. Protests are a way to say that something is wrong and that things need to change. Protests are a way to say that something is wrong and that things need to change. Las protestas son una manera de decir que algo es malo o injusto y las cosas necesitan cambiar. Many protests are peaceful gatherings of people who are tired of injustice, que están cansados de injusticia. And injustice is when something is unfair, es injusto. People who protest are called protesters, and protesters are brave. People who protest are called protesters, and protesters are valientes. They are brave. People all over the United States are protesting because George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Atatiana Jefferson, and many other Black people in the United States were killed by the police. Y aquí decimos were porque estamos hablando de muchas Black people that were killed by the police. William Chapman II was killed by the police on April 22, 2015. Alexia Christian was killed by the police on April 30th, 2015. Brendan Glenn was killed by the police on May 5th, 2015. Jonathan Sanders was killed by the police on July 8th, 2015. Sandra Bland was killed by the police on July 13th, 2015. Darius Stewart was killed by the police on July 17th, 2015. Samuel DuBose was killed by the police on July 19th, 2015. Michael Sabbie was killed by the police on July 22nd, 2015. India Cager was killed by the police on September 5th, 2015. Levante Biggs was killed by the police on September 5th, 2015. Jamar Clark was killed by the police on November 15th, 2015. Miguel Espinal was killed by the police on December 8th, 2015. Keith Childress Jr. was killed by the police on December 31st, 2015. Alton Sterling was killed by the police on July 5th, 2016. Philando Castile was killed by the police on July 6, 2016. Alteria Woods was killed by the police on March 19, 2017. Stephon Clark was killed by the police on March 18, 2018. We are protesting because Black people keep getting hurt and killed by the police. We are protesting because Black people keep getting hurt and killed by the police. Many, many, many Black people in the United States are murdered by police officers. Normally, when police officers murder Black people, there are no consequences for the police officer. Entonces, normalmente cuando los oficiales de la policía asesinan a Black people, no hay consecuencias para el oficial de la policía. People are protesting because the police in the United States are killing Black people every day, and that is unfair. Without protests, sin protests, people might not listen, and unfair things might not change. So without protests, people might not listen, and unfair things might not change. People across the United States are continuing, or protests across the United States are continuing, because protests can help change unfair things. Protests across the United States are continuing because protests can help change unfair things. So this says Black Lives Matter. And it is important to say that Black Lives Matter because Black people in the United States are treated as if their lives do not matter. Es importante decir que Black Lives Matter porque Black people in the United States son tratados como si sus vidas no importan. So for this activity, you will need a piece of paper and a pencil. Van a copiar este paragraph, van a copiar este párrafo y van a llenar los blancos con la palabra was or were. Entonces yo hice la primera. Hoy no hice la primera, pero debe ser Atatiana Jefferson was killed by the police in her house on October 12th, 2019. Entonces en los blancos hay que poner was or were. Y para revisar, I was, you were, he was, she was, it was, they were, we were. Entonces, aquí hay que poner la palabra correcta, was or were. Y hay que leer la palabra en azul porque eso les van a ayudar en determinar cuál palabra debe estar aquí. I was, you were, he was, she was, it was, they were, we were. So Atatiana Jefferson was killed by the police in her house on October 12th, 2019. Y lo demás hay que hacer ustedes. So fill in the blanks with was or were. You can turn in your work on Google Classroom, or you can take a photo of your work and send the photo to Miss Palomino by email or by WhatsApp. And if you have any questions or you want to talk, you can always call or text me from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Monday to Friday. All right, I hope you have a good weekend, and I will talk to you on Monday. All right, have a good day.